am a 25-year-old woman, and my story begins with a relationship that started in 2022. And I did meet this gorgeous girl. Let's call her Emily. She was 23 and vibrant and full of life. And from the moment we met on a dating app, it was like there was something in between us. It was like it was easy to talk to her, and having the chance to meet her in person only heightened that fire. Emily and I quickly formed a routine, going on weekends, hanging out late into the night, organizing trips. First, everything seemed perfect. It was that honeymoon phase where everything about each other was magic. I thought we were creating something real, something permanent. But over time, little chips started to crack our friendship. They weren't clear at first, tiny snippets of disagreement or confusion. I dismissed them, thinking they were normal for any couple. But perhaps, in retrospect, those fractures pointed to things we didn't want to deal with. In March this year, all of this fell apart. Emily declared she didn't want to stay with me. She was unhappy and thought that we weren't destined to be together. She slammed me in the stomach. How could she say that after everything we'd talked about? I didn't know what had gone wrong. Her explanation was unclear, as if she wasn't being totally honest. I kept speculating if she had something hidden. Was it really her misery, or was there something else? In May, curiosity took over and I downloaded the first dating app where we met again. I was curious to know if she was still around, if she was trying to move on or whatever. But her profile was nowhere to be found. Did she block me? Did she delete her account? I knew nothing, just more questions. Though the couple had split up, I could not give up on the idea that we could reconnect. And in June we did. It began with private messages and trips to meetups, but we were seeing each other virtually every day. We went out on dates, chuckled about the good times, and tried to rekindle the fire that had brought us together in the first place. Emily and I were officially back together by July. I was rejoicing like we had managed something monumental. But love never waits for love, and I was about to endure one of the most hectic moments of my life. It was November, and a big exam was to come, the one that would define my future. The anxiety was too much, and it would be all I could do to get ready for it. Emily initially tried to help. She made me feel good, reminded me to stop, even went over some readings. But over the months, the pressure began to wear me down, and us. I was constantly tired, cranky, and hardly ever the greatest person. I had snapped at Emily at times, not because of what she did, but because the weight of it all just didn't feel right. I didn't like that I was hurting her, and I apologized every time I did. So I kept telling her that after the exam I would be better. I pleaded with her to believe things would be better. But Emily seemed more distant over the months. She began to criticize everything I was doing. It was like it was never enough, no matter how hard I tried. She was intolerant of even simple things, such as surprising her with a snack or drink of her choice. She would tell me it was wrong or unnecessary, and I didn't know why. So, in November I finally sat for the exam. It was like a weight off my back and I could finally breathe. I was so looking forward to seeing Emily and recovering from all the studying time I'd spent. We had a date night and I made it special. The evening started off wonderfully. The two of us talked, laughed, and reconnected for hours. But then someone else called me on a first-rate emergency. I had to leave it with Emily for 20 or 30 minutes, I told her. She was distraught, and I could not blame her. This was the wrong thing to do in retrospect, and I instantly regretted it. I was hoping she'd know I was sorry, and I wanted to atone to her. That night, Emily brushed me silently for about a week. It was painful, but I let her go. Later, she called and we went for dinner and drinks. Initially, there was tension. We disagreed over what had happened the week before. But by the end of the night, we had begun to ease up. By the evening, we felt as though we were on the same page. Emily even asked me to spend the night with her, and I was all for it. She and I slept together that night, and in the morning, she told me that she'd have a small treat for me the next time I came. I took that as a sign that we were coming around, that we were over the rocky part. 2 days later, though, it all collapsed again. Our relationship was serious, and when I asked, "What are we?" she made me cry. "Everything but not together," she said. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I had tried to reason with her, to persuade her we could create a better future. I told her about all the times we'd had, and how much we'd supported one another. But she seemed resolute. She prompted me to write down all the things she had done for me, as if she were tallying reasons why she shouldn't stay. The next morning, she texted me and told me that she was unable to do it anymore. She told me all the best, and that was that. I still don't understand it. She told me she wasn't happy, but that's not how I found her. When we were together, we laughed and danced and enjoyed our time. So how could she be unhappy when we seemed so present then? Things I cannot put my mind to. In October, I saw a blouse on a chair in her apartment. It wasn't mine, so I put it on her bed thinking it might be hers. She put it back on the chair though, thinking it was mine. And when I asked her what it was, she behaved weirdly. Another time I opened one of her study books and noticed a note with, "First name, last name, I'm going to class." When I asked her about it, she was baffling and said she didn't know who had made it. Earlier before we split up, she had said she was hanging out with a group locally and being exposed to new people. I wonder if that helped her decision. Was she looking for something or someone else? I still haven't got a definitive answer, only questions. What do you think?